In today's episode, we're going to make your drays really ripple. Stay tuned. Well, hello everybody, I'm Matt Willis Bagpiper, and on this channel I make videos to make you a stronger and more confident piper. If you like this kind of content, please think about giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. I also give online lessons if you want more personalized instruction, but more on that later. The dray, in all of its various forms, is a rather difficult embellishment. This is primarily used in pibroch, though it does occur in the clumsy lover. So there's a dray right there several times in that, so you might have ran into it there, but it's a difficult one involving that top hand, and it can be particularly difficult to control on a set of pipes because you're squeezing and everything else. And the trick to it is making sure that your fingers are not too heavy. So today, with the exercise we have here, my hope is that we can get your fingers a little lighter and more ripply on this tricky embellishment. In the description below, there's a link to the PDF document we're using here. This is an abridged version doing just an open dray on the note D. If you want every dray that's possible, that's available from the link you can see right here now, where you can purchase the full thing for less than most cups of coffee on my site, which will give you drays from C, D, B, and low A. Maybe not in that order, but yeah, it'll give you all of them. Today, we're just doing the D. You could probably extrapolate how to do the rest, but if you wanted it spelled out for you, check out that link. And in the meantime, download the abridged one so you can follow along. So the standard dray is a form of a grip, might be the best way to think about it. Whereas a normal grip is two G's separated by a D, a dray is an A separated by an F, top middle finger grace note, and initially emphasized with an E grace note. So it's an E grace note to an A, F grace note to an A, and then a lift to an E. This one always ends on E. I guess it doesn't have to, but it does. That's just how it is. These end on E. In a previous video on drays, which you can find, boom, right up there, I give you all the different standard ways you can come in and out of a dray and an A dray and what the difference between those things are. But today we're going to be covering the open dray on D, which occurs in the D Krun Lua Amok, which is a fun, ripply embellishment. We're not going to do the whole amok again. We have another video right up there where I do go into all of the different amoks and how to play those. But today, this is about getting the dray port really open. We're going to do just D, but again, if you want the rest of them, you can buy that one from my site. Let's get into it. Now, as you can see here, we have some unusual looking notes. I chose to change the note head to indicate that I want, with those triangle shaped notes, for you to just lift the grace note and not make a full note change. But I do want you holding that lifted finger for the duration of the normal note. So these are, in this measure, quarter notes. So that means they're going to get one full beat. So from D, we're going to lift just the E finger. Again, we're not switching to a full E. And then we're going to bring it down, back to D for a full beat, up to F, just the middle finger for a full beat, and then back down. And then we'll hold that for 2 before switching to an E. And we really want to make sure we get no crossing noise between that D and the E. So when you're making that switch, make sure that you're lifting before you lower, that ring and pinky are up before these come down. If you have a cross, you can check out that video about how to get rid of your crossing noises. But today, this is about these big open notes. So for this one, I have a metronome set at 72, but put it at a speed you feel comfortable for you. And we're going to do the first 2 measures here. And the trick with this, I want your fingers to be as light as they can as you're going up and down. I don't want anything too crisp or poppy. Nice, light, smooth, clean motions, getting the tension out of your hand as much as possible as we go through this. When you have that one under control, we're going to move on to the next 2 measures. Now, instead of holding that first note for just 1 beat and the lifted grace note finger for a beat, we're going to hold the D for a beat and a half and have the grace note finger in the air for just half a beat. But we want a good, clean half of a beat. We're not trying to make those lifted fingers move too quickly yet. Again, try to keep those fingers as light as possible. They don't have to be too small at this point. We're trying to get them nice and ripply. We don't want anything like right angled. I want it to feel kind of like water flowing over like little pebbles in a river rather than like, I don't know, something graphed down on a piece of like, well, graph paper. You know, we want kind of smooth and ripply. That's the whole idea behind this exercise here. So in this next one, we have 4 even eighth notes starting with a D. Lift again just that E finger, back down to D, lift just that middle finger, and then back down to a D, which will be 1 beat. And then again, we're making that cross to E, trying to avoid a crossing noise, and that E will be 2 beats. Let's give this a go. Do that as many times as you need to get it under control, under your fingers. You're nice and smooth, nice and ripply. When you can do that, we're going to move on to a pointed rhythm where now the Ds are going to be 3/4 of a beat and the lifted finger just 1/4 of a beat. So we're getting way closer to grace note territory here with those individual motions, but we want to try our best to still keep them kind of ripply and not too jerky in their motion. Let's give it a go. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the members of my Patreon community. You'll see their names scrolling up right now. These are folks that contribute monthly to the channel. I'd love to add your name to this list. There's a number of perks at the various tiers on my Patreon, but the most important thing is it really does help support this channel and make these videos possible. So thank you all, patrons. If you feel your hand getting tight, this might be a good place to stop, but if everything's feeling good and you still have it under control, let's move on to line 3, where now we have 4/16 notes, which makes things quite a bit quicker. This is where the tension might start setting in. Don't let it happen. You can even slow the metronome down a bit if you need. No problem with that at all. We want these first 4 notes nice and even, again, with just those single finger motions before we make that switch to E. So we have all 4 notes across one beat before heading back to a half beat on the D, and then switching up to a beat and a half on the E this time. You'll hear how it goes. That one's tricky to do. Take your time, slow it down if you need to. Try to get those 4 notes across that first beat and don't rush through it. But when you can do that, let's move on to the next one where we're going to now point those Ds, make them 3/8 of a beat to 1/8 of a beat on each grace note. So now they're really getting very close to grace note territory at this speed. Before then, 3/8 of a beat on the next E, 1/8 of the beat on the final lifted F before going to a half beat on the D, and up to the E for a beat and a half. When you have something resembling that one working, that one's super tricky. When you have something resembling that working, it's time to try to play them as actual open drays. And for our purposes here, I'm wanting to end up to that E on the beat. Dee da da dee, bum da da dee, bum da da dee, bum da da dee, bum da da dee. The faster your dray is able to be played, the longer that D before the dray will be. Now in pibroch and Crown Lewis, there's not exactly going to be a beat, so that's less important. But for this exercise here and how we're interpreting the page, we're wanting to put that dray before the beat, not on the beat. I also give online pipe lessons. If you want more personalized instruction, reach out to www.commandyourbagpipe.com or email me at matt@mattpiper.com, and we'll get you going. I'm working with folks from all over the planet, and I hope to work with you soon. And then the real challenge, finally, these drays with 1/8 notes, so you don't have very much time on that initial D before you ripple back up and just keep going on that, well, in this case, 4 times in a row. And feel free to make that final E longer. Like that's kind of a pain. But part of the idea is if you feel your hand tightening up, you probably have too much tension. You should be able to do many, many of these in a row if you have the right amount of tension in your hand, which is not none, but it's not a lot. And it's that F finger that tends to stop firing as your hand gets tighter. So if you notice your F is starting to not work, loosen the grip, or maybe take a break from this and come back to it later in the day, tomorrow, whatever you need to do. But yeah, it's all about getting that loose, rippling feel in your hands, and with any luck, this exercise here will help you get there. And I think you can extrapolate out how you can take this and apply it to C's, B's, and low A's. But if you wanted it spelled out for you, which is just fine, I hope you do, you can go ahead and check out the link right here where I have a 2-page version of this document with drays from A, B, and C. So yeah, head over there and check that out. Well, let me know what you think about this exercise. The comments really do mean a lot and get the video boosted in the algorithm. So yeah, post below with if this helped loosen up your hand. Even if you're not learning pibroch or mox or any of that stuff right now, I think this exercise can really help get your top hand in the proper amount of tension it needs to play well properly. That'll wrap us up for today, everybody. Until next time, I'm Matt Willis. Cheers.